Well, as we complete Unit 6 and you're getting ready to move into the very last part of the course, I kind of wanted to summarize where we are to this point and what I'm hoping that at this time you're experiencing or starting to notice. And it's kind of wrapped up in the idea of how people change, which is what this past unit has just been about, is we don't do very well when people tell us how to change. I don't know what your experience has been, but if 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 I'm in a certain mood and whatever it might be, and somebody says to me, you should stop that. Just get over it. Stop it. Do something else. Um, I I don't hear that as a very helpful thing because given how I'm using my thinking in that moment and how reality looks to me, I can't see how to do that. So, what really helps us to help ourselves as well as to help other people is to know that the answer is not going to be from the outside in. It's going to be from insight, from sight from within, something that occurs to us. And hopefully, as you've gone through this course, unit by unit, things have occurred to you that are helpful to you because that's how we learn. We learn from seeing it for ourselves, putting it in our own words, having our own way of relating to it. So, insight is a tricky thing because a lot of people have this idea that it's special, that insight is only for certain types of people, that I can't just have an insight because it takes preparation or it takes this or that. We have a lot of sort of ingrained ideas about insight, but really we live by insight. It's like we're going through life and it occurs to us to turn right, or it occurs to us to make a phone call, or it doesn't occur to us and we don't have that insight. And some insights are very trivial or small. For example, when I first got exposed to these principles, the first insight I had seemed very silly to me. The insight was, you're tired, you don't get enough rest. But the fact is that was true. It's not like my doctor hadn't told me that time and time again. I just couldn't see how to get any more rest because I was so busy and I had all these obligations and blah, blah, blah. But when I had that insight for myself, when I had the realization, you need more sleep, it meant something to me because it wasn't advice. It was my own mind arriving at a realization that felt right to me. It felt true to me. And so I found a way to get more sleep. And then a lot of things started to get better. So some insights are just, remembering where you left your keys, or having the thought at the last minute just before you turn into somebody's driveway that you promised them you'd pick up milk before you came to their house. You turn around and go back. And sometimes insights are life-shattering and profound. For example, the insight that Sydney Banks had. By now, I'm assuming you've read The Missing Link, and if you want to read more of Sydney Banks' books, you'll find references to them in the library for this course. He's written a number of books, and they're all about the same thing, but they're very beautiful, and people find them extremely helpful. But for him, he had lived a life of insecurity and feeling inferior to people and feeling sad because he had a hard childhood and feeling that he was deprived and had all these negative feelings. And he was a welder. He had a tough life. But just in an instant, he had this extraordinary, profound realization about the nature of thought. It just came to him. in a very quiet moment. Oh, I see how it works. And it came to him almost in what people would call the form of enlightenment. It was a huge insight, but insight nonetheless, insight that anyone could have. But as a result of that insight, everything changed for him. He saw that his insecurity was just something he was making up about himself. He saw, that he'd interpreted all kinds of things in his life just through his own thinking, and that really didn't have a lot to do with anything but his thinking. He found peace of mind. He found happiness. He found ease. He found the courage to do the things he wanted to do in life and not feel trapped and caught in the circumstances of his life. And he made it his life's work to share what he had seen with other people, in the hopes that, given the depth of the feeling and the way it was shared, it would direct them to their own insight. And when they had that insight, when they saw for themselves, everything would get easier. Life, they could live at peace. They could make easy decisions. They could make peace with people that they had trouble getting along with. They could have a level of comfort and joy that everybody wants, and a lot of us just don't know how to get. So that's really what this course has been about. It's about your well-being, but it's about your well-being at a very deeply spiritual level, at the level where living from insight, living from within, living with an understanding of how it works, so you don't get frightened by your own thinking. You don't get frightened by random things that pop into your head. You see it for what it is. That gives you the ultimate freedom to choose the life of your dreams.